Hey Ramblers, this is the second of three videos on iPad basics. And in this video, we're going to explore basic navigation with the iPad, some software or apps that we'll need you to download, and then some settings that you have to choose in your settings app so that you're going to get the most out of your class time with your teachers. Okay, Ramblers, I hope that you find this helpful, and thanks for watching. Let's turn on the iPad so that we can start talking about basic navigation. Now to do that, I'm going to use the sleep wake button, or if you may just need to touch the home button. Basic navigation refers to opening and closing apps, switching between apps, and then using the really helpful feature, which is the split screen. So let's get started by opening the Google app. To open the app, we simply place our finger on the icon, press it, and voila, it opens up. Now to close it, I simply press the home button. When I do that, I return to my home screen. But there's something else I could have done. I could have switched to another open app. And the way to switch is one of two ways. You can double click the home button and all of the open apps will appear and you can scroll through them and choose one of them to open. Let's say I wanted to switch to Bookshelf. I could maybe do some work in there. I could open up my calculus textbook. And then if I wanted to switch back to Google, I could double click again, or I could use four fingers. And by placing four fingers on the iPad and swiping up, I get the same effect as if I had pressed the home button twice. So let's go back to Google and then close out of that. And why don't you pause the video and try opening an app and closing it two ways, once by double clicking and once by using the four finger swipe upwards to reveal all the other open apps. Okay, try that now. Okay, now let's try another really useful feature that's available on the newer iPads called split screen capability. So let me open up Google. Now imagine that there's another app that I want to go into, but I want it open on my screen at the same time. By placing a finger on the right-hand edge of the iPad screen, I can sweep over and it will reveal all the other open apps. I can scroll through them to choose another app that I want open at the same time. Why don't I choose the Bookshelf again, just to show you how this works. Now, because both of these apps are compatible with the split screen, I'm able to make the screen as large as I need. If I want more room for the Bookshelf, I continue swiping toward the left. If I want them to be about equal, I just move it toward the middle. Now I have both apps open and I can do work in both apps. I can scroll on the left, or if I want to do a search in Google, I can start doing that. So that's a really useful capability. Why don't you pause the video and open up two apps and try to use the split screen capability. Let's go back to the home screen and choose the settings icon. Once I go into settings, I see a whole bunch of choices over on the left-hand column, and then the submenu that appears because of the choices that I make from the left-hand column. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Wi-Fi. Here I am with my home Wi-Fi, but when you get at school, you're going to want to be on Net 30. If you're not, you're going to need to see the folks up in the technology department to help you out with the connection. Moving down will be notifications. Now, notifications can be really distracting while you're in school. So I would really urge you to go into whatever apps you have, make a choice, and do not allow notifications. You'll find that you get more out of your experience in class if you don't have something from Snapchat popping up every few minutes. I set up Do Not Disturb for my school hours from 7:45 until 3 p.m. so that when I'm teaching with the iPad, I don't have incoming FaceTime calls or things like that. Under General, I think it's important to recognize that this is where Apple can alert you of any software updates. So if you see a red rectangle under the software update, it means you need to update your iPad. Going back to display and brightness, you want to keep your brightness not too high so that you don't run your battery down too quickly. And then under privacy, if you keep scrolling over again on the left-hand column, you'll see that I have my location services on. That's really important for iPad security. Find My iPad is a useful app if you leave your iPad somewhere in the school and someone picks it up. If you do lose your iPad, by all means, check the dean's office, but this is one way they have of locating it. So you can go in app by app and decide whether or not you want to have that app using your location. Be careful. If you choose for the camera, if you have your location services on and you post a picture that you took with your iPad, someone on the internet, they may be able to find out where that picture was taken. So if you took it in your house, suddenly they know where you live. So be very careful with location services. But I would have it on for the Find My iPad app. Okay, Ramblers, let's take a look at one last set of topics for this video, and that's going to be apps. So let's return to the home screen, and you'll see in the upper left-hand corner I have my icon for the App Store. Why don't you open that? And when you do so, you'll come to a screen with all the different featured apps going on right now. I use the search most often in the upper right-hand corner, and I'd like you to download Nearpod. So why don't you type in Nearpod or Nearpod Student and search for that. Now when you do, that app will appear, and since I already have it, it says that I can just open it. But yours iPad will say Get. Why don't you get that app, and you'll see that it's free, and so there's nothing for you to charge. But let's go through and get the three apps that I want you to purchase. The first one's Nearpod, second one is iBooks, and the last one is Google Drive. So why don't you pause the video and download Nearpod. Okay, let's try going after another app, and that will be iBooks. iBooks, I want the one in the middle, and as you can see, again, I already own it, so it just says open. But why don't you download iBooks? Again, there should be nothing that you pay for here. And lastly, let's download Google Drive. So I'm typing in Google Drive under the search screen, and I don't need Duet Display because that's $9.99, but Google Drive is free, so why don't you download Google Drive? Okay, Ramblers, we covered a lot in this session. We talked about basic navigation, closing apps, opening apps, swiping between apps. You may remember that we did the split screen. We did some work in the settings app, and then how to download apps or the software that the iPad runs on. Okay, Ramblers, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.